Hey guys, Reuben Williams here, founder of SportsGrad. Back in the day, I landed a job at Cricket Australia on the Monday after my final university exam. And then 3 years later, when COVID hit and my job was made redundant, rather than looking for work for months on end, I was headhunted into a role that doubled my salary. I'm not telling you this to brag, I'm telling you because there is a method to it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. For example, Lucas Viana, one of our members, called the SportsGrad method a cheat code, and another member, Sasha Brahim, she called it magic. And honestly, I'll take that. Now, most people spend years trying to break into sport and never figure out why it is not working. And so the reason that this podcast exists is to change that. Every week, I'm going to share some real moments from real coaching calls that are unfiltered, unscripted, so you get a taste for the kind of work that has helped people land over 800 roles in sport and counting. If you're ready to stop guessing and start moving in the right direction and go after the career that you've always wanted, apply for the SportsGrad Method program at sportsgrad.com.au. Now, let's get into it. When I first created this career development plan and career operating system for myself, the reason why setting goals for myself had never worked in the past was because I would write them down and then never look back on them. And I didn't have a system for reviewing them. And so therefore I wouldn't check in. And so therefore I wouldn't take the action to just forget about it and fall flat. And so it wasn't until 2021 when I started creating a system for reviewing it that things actually started to get better systematically. And my way of doing so was by locking myself into an Airbnb once a month and forcing myself through a set agenda. So I couldn't avoid not doing this because I literally had money tied down to doing the monthly review. And my way of justifying in my mind was I think I said, Reuben, you've got a budget of $200 per month for a one night stay. And it's going to cost you, a couple of $1,000 a year. But in my mind, I thought that's $2,000 invested in improving my career and my life. That I'm willing to take. And so that meant that still to this day have done 50 odd consecutive months of checking in with my goals. But the first 36 months of those were probably the most action packed. These days it's a bit more smoother sailing. But in those first 36 months I was constantly thinking about am I setting the right habits? Am I setting the right goals? Am I taking the right actions towards those habits and those goals to just make everything bit easier to manage? And in those months and years, I would make changes to my environment. I would change towards what I was aiming for. But by creating this monthly review, it gave me a very tight feedback loop to understand what do I want and how do I get it. And so that's what I want to run you guys through today. Just show you how to conduct the review so that you guys can get into a habit of doing this every single month. And then I'm going to ask someone to be a bit of a guinea pig and we'll go through it together. In your career development plan, you will notice that halfway down the page, we've got in here a little tab that says monthly check-in. And what we're going to do, we're going to be going between, the goals that you've set for yourself and the habits that you've been ticking off and this page here. So if we go into it, we can get started. So down here, this is where I like to keep all my monthly reviews. And it's really I can tell you years down the track, it becomes really cool being able to go back to a monthly review from 4 years ago and read about what you're going through at that point in time. So the longer you keep this up, the more interesting introspection becomes. But very simply, what you want to do is click on this and start to get an understanding of how you went for your goals this month. And the way that I do that is by creating a benchmark and by scoring my goals. So I score my goals on a 3-1-0 point system. I get 3 points if I hit the goal. I get 1 point if I come close to it, and you can decide what close is. And I get 0 points if I'm nowhere near it. And then to all my different types of goals. So people, skill, project, brand. So let's say, for example, people goal. So a lot of your people goals are, it might be very easy to quantify. It might be, meet 50 people this year, which might be, 12 per quarter or so. And so you got to meet 3 or 4 per month. And so very simply, you might be able to say okay, well, I had 3 Zoom calls this month. That's a tick. I'll give myself 3 points for my people goal of meet 3 people in May. Then say for your skill goal, let's say, for example, it was record and review, 10 repetitions of me telling my story of why I want to work in sport. Let's say you only recorded, 7 of them. So I've got close, but not hit it. That's where I give myself 1 point for that. And then so on with project and brand. And then at the end, I just would score myself 8 out of 12, or whatever your score is. So by giving myself a score, then I can start to take action on it. And that gets me to the next question. So for example, that's when I ask myself, okay, why did I hit or why did I not hit the monthly milestones for my goal? And so when I start to reflect back, I might go back to the people goal and be like, okay, well, I had my three meetings. Why did I do that? Well, I actually sent out about 12 messages. So like I had a lot of, people to potentially meet because I had done the work up front to try and connect with them. But then if I go to my skill goal and I look at, okay, well, why did I only do 7 reps of the 10 that I set myself out to for this month? And then I think about, well, actually, you know what? I was doing it a bit haphazardly. I was kind of doing it whenever I had the time. There was no sort of set time during the week that I would do it. Therefore, it fell by the wayside when other things came up. So that's when I'd get to the third question and ask myself, what actions can I take next month to increase my score? So one thing that I would importantly remind myself of is like, all right, what am I doing well that I need to keep doing? Because in the past, I've done things where, I feel like I've hit the goal and then I've like focused on the next thing, and that one has dropped off. So it's important that you don't kind of like, shift your attention and let other things drop. For example, like, this is more related to my habits, but one of my daily habits is plan my day. And there was a point where I was like, doing that every single day, like literally getting 30 out of 30 every month. And I thought, cool, I don't need to worry about that anymore. And so I took it off my habits. As soon as I took it off, it started to fall through the cracks. And that meant, other things start to fall through the cracks. So when you think about what action can I take next month to increase my score, also think about what things do I need to maintain my score. So for example, underneath this, you might simply dot point, like continue to send out 20 DMs a week to people to make sure that I am never at risk of not hitting my people goal. Because if I know if I send 20 a week, then I'm going to have plenty of people to meet with, and that's going to more than carry me to my goal. But then for my skill goal, I know that the reason that's not getting hit is because there's no sort of set time during the week to do that. So maybe that's what I'd think about. Okay, well, what I'm really asking myself to do is, probably spend 15 minutes reviewing this, bit of copy I've created for myself, and then repeating it back and iterating. It's probably a half an hour task. What if I attach that to something I'm already doing? And so that's where some of you might have read the book Atomic Habits, but habit stacking was a thing that I would do to make sure that I would, hit my goals. So for example, like one thing I've done for a while is, attach like a quick workout to my lunch break. Particularly like when I'm down in lawn and, nothing is kind of bothering me. I'd have like a set sort of 20-minute routine that I'd do like when I, before I have my lunch. And so what you might want to do is with this is, with your skill goal, if it's related to iterating on how you tell your career story or any part of your professional back end, is just attach it to, when you have breakfast or when you have lunch. And so that you know that like, all right, before I have lunch, I'm going to review my story, record it, and listen back to it. And I'm just going to do that every single day, or maybe do that Monday to Friday. So you know that, you're going to get those 10 reps in the first 2 weeks of each month. And now you're not at risk of hitting the goal. So that's how I would think about reviewing my goal and making sure that the next month is better than the last. Then I would basically do the same thing for my habits as well. So I apply the 3-1-0 system across this as well. And it's a bit easier to quantify, given like, you're getting 1 tick per day that you do it. So 3 points for anything 20 and above, 1 point between.
All right, guys, that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed that and got something out of it. If you want to learn directly from me and our other SportsGrad coaches who are working directly in the industry, then jump into the SportsGrad Method program. Once you're inside, you'll also get access to the entire SportsGrad Method curriculum that comes with a 90-day roadmap, so you know exactly what to do next. There is a step-by-step system to this. You do not have to think of what to do. We have thought of it all for you. Plus, you can tap into the SportsGrad network and get introductions to the people that might be hard to meet for you at the moment. Plus, you'll be surrounded by the wonderful SportsGrad community who are all helping each other get closer to their goals as well. So the results speak for themselves. Have a look at the website if you want to check it all out, but we'd love to see you inside and receive your application. See ya.